Hi, I'm Frank Brady. Welcome to Tip of the Week. In our last two issues, we discussed the impending collapse of the third-party payer system. Today, we're going to discuss 7 powerful positioning steps that should be undertaken immediately, whether or not you agree with the points we described in that series. The collapse of Affordable Care Act exchanges, spiraling out-of-pocket costs to patients, and the withdrawal of participation by major insurance companies are changing utilization and reimbursement in unpredictable ways. Waiting for the dust to settle would have been the right thing to do in the good old days. Waiting today is potentially dangerous and even lethal. The position and steps we'll be discussing should be pursued in any case. Step number 1, evaluate your management structure. The bullet points in this slide identify questions you should consider as you evaluate your structure. The hospital's management structure simultaneously reflects organizational culture, even as it shapes it. Unfortunately, some have confused decentralization, which gives managers operational autonomy within defined, goal-focused parameters, with consensus management, which sounds very democratic with a small d, but which inevitably leads to chaos. The whole is truly greater than the sum of its parts. That is, the needs of the hospital are superior to those of any of its components and must always take precedence. Step 2, develop a market intelligence capability. Time is your most scarce resource. Much of that time is consumed by complying with mandates and communicating with board members and medical staff. It is critically important to develop a market intelligence capability that will keep the management team current on answers to these questions. Being ill-informed on changes in your service area is dangerous. It's amazing how little attention is given to development of this vital strategic resource. Step 3, evaluate your organizational structure. A minute ago, we talked about evaluating your management structure. Now let's consider your organizational structure. Are there other ways you might be organized? Are there potential advantages, for example, to spinning off subsidiary non-hospital organizations to provide selected services at reduced prices? How much of your current outpatient revenue is at risk from other hospital and non-hospital competitors? Will your current charge structure really allow you to compete with them on the price point in an era of price transparency? Step number 4, upgrade department head management skills. Do your department heads understand and operate the complete management cycle? Do they possess the skills necessary to do so? If they aren't functioning as managers, either executive management is taking up the slack, or some essential functions aren't being performed at all. Upward delegation can be a real problem when department managers don't perform the full scope of their jobs. Success moving forward in today's environment is going to require making the most of your management team's abilities and skills. If this is an area of problem in your organization, perhaps you can work with a local community college to develop classes on planning, organizing, directing, and controlling. These should be how-to classes, not theory classes. Step 5, develop an organizational culture that demands high performance. Institute a tough love approach to employee retention and promotion. The bottom line is simple. Do not tolerate non-performance. Rid the organization of poor performers. Continuing to employ them isn't fair to the organization, to their co-workers, to patients, and ultimately it isn't fair to poor performers who may see no reason to improve. Step 6, update your labor management goals to match current workload. If a department's workload has changed since current standards were developed, there is a very good chance that the current standards are causing problems. Because of the fixed component of staffing, if workload has materially increased, your current standards may be overstating required staffing hours. On the other hand, if workload is significantly decreased, your current standards may be understating required staffing hours. The hours worked to hours paid ratio, also shown above, is not looked at as much as it should be. In most U.S. hospitals, between 87% and 91% of paid hours are spent in worked or productive status. If your hospital is coming in significantly below that range, you are not getting as much bang for your buck as other hospitals. On the other hand, if your worked hours are quite a bit above 91%, particularly if there's a lot of overtime and a lot of turnover, that could be the sign of a stressed department. Step 7. Provide pay period productivity reporting and utilization and revenue trend projections for the current period and year to date. Department managers will pay attention to what you pay attention to. They need to receive systematic and frequent feedback on their performance. They should receive that feedback at least monthly. This concludes today's issue of Tip of the Week. We hope you found it to be useful. Thank you for watching, and have a great week.